Coming to paperback and Kindle this fall, E-Steam Blast from the Past. Hell's aspiring angel takes on her demonic doppelganger in this time-traveling, action-packed E-Steam series adventure. Pre-order your copy of E-Steam Blast from the Past on Kindle with a bonus E-Steam comic or for the paperback this fall. It's your boy Shawn, and I'm here with yet another comic review video. Now, a couple of months ago, I put in a pledge for Raymond Leonard's Agent Solo issue number 2. And I immediately went out here and put in that pledge and went out here to tell everybody about Agent Solo number 2 being out because issue number 1 of Agent Solo was absolutely fantastic. And I was counting down the days until I could get that second issue. Well, I put in a pledge for the paper copies of Agent Solo number 2 a couple of months ago, and Raymond has now delivered the digital edition of Agent Solo number 2. And while the first issue was a tribute to 1990s comics and their absolutely outrageous action and paid homage to all of the crazy names and the crazy cultural aspects of 90s comics, issue number 2 is even better than issue number 1. And let me tell you, issue number 2 isn't just a great tribute to 1990s comics. This is a clinic on how to put together a fantastic comic book. And Raymond Leonard and Art Belfield come together to masterfully craft a fantastic second issue that practically, again, is a clinic on how to put together a quality comic. And I was impressed from page 1 to the final page of this story. I mean, this book takes the storyline from the first book and continues to build upon it, which is what you're supposed to do when you're doing a comic story arc. And I don't want to spoil the book because there are a lot of plot points and plot threads that are developed in this issue, and I really want to get to Agent Solo in action because that's what this book is. This comic is wall-to-wall action. I mean, if you remember those old Jim Lee X-Men comics of the early 90s, this is just like those old Jim Lee X-Men comics. I mean, it is wall-to-wall action, and Raymond and Art do not waste a single page on anything that doesn't belong in the book. I mean, in most modern comic books, you'll get a whole bunch of filler in the face of all these expository sequences, dialogue of people sitting around talking for 2, 3, 4 pages. You don't get any of that here. All you get is what I used to get when I used to go to the grocery store on Fordham Road. Living here in the South Bronx, there was this, I think it was a cigar shop, and I would go in there and get my comics every Saturday or every Friday when I was in Taft High School. And I remember going to the newsstand at Times Square when I was 14, 15 years old, and the Forbidden Planet. This is what I used to get from the comic shop back in the day. I mean, this is the kind of comic that I would go out here and get when I would go to Fordham Road to buy my comics, go get some Burger King, and just sit there and read this comic on my way back to the bus. That's how good this comic is. It took me back to those memories of getting on the bus, anticipating going to get those types of comics. And the action here, again, in this issue, just jam-packed with action, jam-packed with really solid storytelling, and jam-packed with rich, multi-dimensional character development. And this book is so good that I just don't want to spoil it because Art and Raymond and everybody who has worked on this book, they have just done a fantastic job on this book. Robert's colors really pop, and the lettering is very strong. I mean, everything on this book is just absolutely perfect. And so Agent Solo #2, it makes you count down the days until you can pick up Agent Solo #3. I mean, the team here, they have just done an amazing job on this comic. And again, if you want to see a clinic on comic book storytelling, this is the comic for you. I mean, this comic, everything is technically sound on this book, and the storyline, it just builds from the first issue, and it just becomes just that more compelling. I mean, everything here, as I saw it, I mean, there was no wasted space on the pages. Everything is about building the story visually, and all of the everything here is just absolutely, this is perfection in a comic. This is what, again, what I used to get on the newsstands, and this is what I used to get when I used to go to the comic shop. And this is what comic books are all about. I mean, you want to see a really great comic. Raymond Leonard's Agent Solo #2 is an absolutely great comic. The first issue, again, that was a lot of homages and tributes to the 1990s, but this book here, this is a testament to great comic book storytelling. This is a testament to great comic book art, and it just shows how Raymond and Art are masters of their craft. I mean, this comic right here, this comic right here would be what you would see at old school DC, at old school Marvel, in terms of production, in terms of storytelling. This is the gold standard right here, and I highly recommend you get Agent Solo #2 and Agent Solo #1, and I'm definitely gonna be coming back for Agent Solo #3. And again, I didn't want to go too far into this because Raymond is getting ready to ship these comics out, I think next year, but he gave this to everybody as a preview who donated to his Indiegogo, and Rob Liefeld donated to Raymond's Indiegogo, so that says something right there. I mean, a comic book legend put in a pledge for his Indiegogo. And again, I'm definitely coming back for #3 because I love this comic. The characters are great, and I really like seeing a strong, positive black hero in a comic. But I also love seeing black creators like Raymond and Art put together a masterpiece and a master class in comic books, because when you read this book, you get a prime example of how to set up that second act in the 3-act paradigm of a 3-issue story arc. And everything here you're going to learn from not reading this book. If you're an aspiring comic writer or an aspiring comic artist, this book is going to teach you a lot here. And it's also going to entertain every casual reader who reads comics, because this comic, like Jim Shooter used to say, every story is an entry point. Even though this is a #2, you can come into this and have no problem following the action, and then want to go back out here and go back and pick up #1 if you wanted to do that when Raymond announced the Indiegogo, or I think if he had a website, you would be able to do that too. I mean, this is the kind of comic that goes out here and sells issue #1 and issue #2 and makes the sale. I mean, this is another aspect that I liked about this book, is it does what a good comic is supposed to do. It grabs the reader's attention. It's wall-to-wall action, and it sells the next issue and gets the reader to go out here and pick up the previous issue so they can find out what's going on and what's so awesome about this character. Again, I really want to thank Raymond and Art for making this fantastic comic. I highly recommend you go out here and get Agent Solo #2. And I definitely, again, want everybody to go out here and go get the Indiegogo or the Kickstarter whenever Raymond announces it for #3. If he does do that, definitely put in a pledge, because this book is so worth it. It's a great comic, and I want to see more readers pick up Agent Solo, because This is what comic books used to be back in the day. And if we get this type of greatness again, comics will be fun again. The first SJS Direct comic, E-Steam No Good Deed, is now available in the new E-Steam series book, E-Steam Blast from the Past. And in E-Steam Blast from the Past, a tribute to Marvel's 2-in-1, you get two stories in one book. The first is a feature, E-Steam Blast from the Past, where Hell's Aspiring Angel takes on her demonic doppelganger in a action-packed follow-up to E-Steam The Sands of Time. And after that, you get a second story, E-Steam No Good Deed, written by myself, penciled and inked by Bill Walko, and lettered by Eric Weathers, and this is an adaptation of the extremely popular E-Steam No Good Deed ebook, which sold over 3,000 copies in 2012. So if you want to check out the first SJS Direct comic and see what a comic from the SJS Direct imprint would look like in an upcoming Isis or John Haynes graphic novel, you can pick up a copy of E-Steam Blast from the Past in paperback right now, or you can put in a pre-order and get a Kindle version of E-Steam Blast from the Past delivered to your tablet or your Kindle or your smartphone on Black Friday. And if you want to see me make more comics like this, make more comic review videos like the one you saw for Agent Solo, and be able to pay for more great covers by artists like Bill Walko and Mike Williams, you can donate to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation